Superbooth 24. I'm here on the booth of Boardbrain Music with Adam. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Fine. It's your first Superbooth, right?
It is. It is.
So far?
It's been great. It's been great. A little dirty and dusty, but for the most part, it's been awesome.
You're part of the tents area here,
Yes, outside.
and you brought to the Superbooth your new mixing system.
Yes.
I think mixing is a big topic in Euroracks at the moment.
Yes, it is.
And
coincidentally.
what was for you the most important part of a mixing system?
Really, I wanted to feel very professional and a place to bring everything into one place with very low noise, so I can have one central location with hands-on control, but a lot of experimental mixing options. So Boardbrain has always been interested in the flexibility of connecting things together, and I felt that was lacking in the mixing area. So we built in a lot of options into our mixer for expansion, for future modules, as well as for channel expansion and new ways to connect them in different ways to create buses and other
So
things.
not just one module, which is everything, one module plus, so that you can create an entire system.
Right, so you can start one way and then you can design it to work the way you would like.
And the brain of it is you announced that NopCon, I think, the Xcelon.
Yes, so we announced Exilon last September in Chicago at NopCon, and we've been selling it since November. And we just figured we'd bring it out because we have some new additions to the system.
Okay. And so far, the feedback from people was they're happy. I think yes. Because
Yes.
because I read a lot that people are really digging in it. It's really a great mixer, and you are expanding it constantly with new expanders. I see here. There are now three new expanders for Superbooth.
Yes.
But maybe for the people to make it easier, maybe we can win with the Exilon at the first to get an overview what it can do.
Okay, great. Well, Exilon is a 6-channel stereo mixer.
So there's stereo. Each channel is stereo.
Correct. Everything, all the signal paths are all stereo throughout the entire system. So we have 6 inputs that are all stereo, and each one has 4 CV inputs as well to control the volume, the balance, the effects in 1 and 2. And on the master side over here, you have actually 2 output buses, which is very unique, but it allows you to do some really cool things. So we have mix A and B. So for each channel, you can select that. And you can also select a middle position for that channel, which will allow you to send to both outputs for parallel processing and to create some really cool things with crossfading and other really neat ways to use that for routing. But the effect sends are stereo, and the returns are also stereo, which have their own level controls here that are dedicated. They also have their own mix bus selection switch, and CV control.
Can you also use it as a 12-channel mixer, or just it must be 6-channel stereo?
Well, there's 2 ways to get more channels. One is to use the X-Fade option. And what this does is allows you to plug in 2 mono sources, and then the panning is disabled now, but you can use the balance control as a crossfader between the 2 inputs.
But the inputs have the same volume.
They will share all the other controls, the gain included, so that would be the gain and the effects and the level and the mute. Yes.
So it could be also 12 channels of mono.
Right. The other way to expand is to use the XP3 channel expander. You can connect 2 of these XP3 directly to the main mixer, and you can go even further if you like using a flying bus cable, because it's a standard 16 pin.
You have a module on display to show the...
Yes, so the expander ports, you have the 2 expander ports here.
Okay.
And then if you want to go beyond that, you can by using a flying bus cable.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So there's a lot of options to expand it.
You can keep going with the channels, yeah. And we also plan to create several new channel input expanders too, such as a drum input expander that is voiced specifically to bring drums into the mixer. mono inputs with tone shaping and bus control that is designed for doing mixing with drums and bringing that in, and also maybe a simpler version of XP3 that is more compact.
And it was always your idea to bring a complete mixing system. It's not, because usually you see many stereo mixers on the market that are just the mixer, just a module. And I think if I see at your system, it's really a complete modular mixer system. It's a bit a different idea of it.
Correct, yes.
That was from beginning in the concept of it.
Well, yeah, the mixer was actually the first module in the entire design phase of all of our modules.
Okay.
And it has evolved in the design phase as we created more to become what it did when we finally released it. So it has, all of the other modules have been designed alongside Xcelon, so they work great together and they interconnect with one another to create an entire modular mixing solution. And that includes the EQ-X5 here, which is a 5-band graphic EQ with voltage control over all the parameters, and that's a stereo EQ equalizer. And so I have multiple ones in this case here for the channels. So you can patch those. The way they're patched here is after the bus mix outs. So I have all of the drums running through this equalizer, and then I have several of the other instruments running through this equalizer. So they're useful in that regard. And then they come out together into our monitor module here, which you can see that they come together here, and they mix back together at the monitor module, and I can actually use this switch to choose which one is in the headphones, and then adjust the levels independently as well.
Okay.
Or I can listen to the master in the headphones too. So there's a couple ways to connect it, but you could do it other ways as well. Also in the mixer, the gain for each channel, you can see it's set very low here, but that's because we're using Eurorack sources, so it doesn't need much boost. But you can boost line level instruments all the way up into the mixer.
So you could use it also not for modular synthesizer, but you can also use it as say, for just drum machines or other DAW systems.
Yes, for everything. So actually in my live rig, I bring my Access Virus and my Moog mono synth in as well, and it all mixes together here, and I can cross-modulate. I can do ducking effects with EQ and with monitor, and everything mixed into one place. Beyond that too, with the channels that I've showed you and how these work, there's some options on the back of the mixer. So besides the expander ports, we have jumpers here that control how the meter works on each channel. So you can see the green and yellow meter here. When I turn this channel down, it cuts off. So that's a post-fader meter setting, which is default. But on channel 5, I've set the jumper to be pre-fader, so you can still see the signal with it down. So that's the way DJ mixers typically work. So if you like to be able to visualize your signals no matter what the level is, then you would set the jumper that way to pre. There's another jumper here for each channel. It's a set of stereo jumpers, and these control effect send 1, whether it is pre or post fader. So for effect send 1, you could send to the delay like it is in here and still turn the fader down and it would still function. In the post fader mode, it would come down with the volume. So that's something that most people look for when they want a full wash of effect or something like that. There's also one more jumper option, and that is for the volume CV. And that allows you to use the volume CV input of a channel as a typical audio VCA with attenuation. Okay. So you don't just have to use it as a regular modulator, you can change the function of the channel.
Okay.
And then last on the back are the direct output headers. So with these, you can access the channels either pre or post fader to record out using our new modules for that, or you can use it for other new functions and other really cool ways to create other subgroups, and for our newer modules that we'll release later that give you access to these channels in other ways.
So it's not yet over with new expansions and so on?
Correct. Yeah, we'll be able to do other grouping. We can add more aux sends or effect sends. We can also add PFL, queuing modules, and other types of things as well using that. You also have access to the returns and mix out A on the back too. So you can send those to these modules as well. Those 3 new modules are over here. They're in the case. They're I/O, TRS, and DB25. So they all connect to the back of Exilon in the same way in groups of 3 stereo channels, but they exit the modules in different ways. So the I/O gives you access at Eurorack level to any of the signals, channel signals in Exilon or the expanders. The TRS gives you 12 balanced outputs, and you choose how you connect them to the back of the mixer. And DB25 gives you a full 24 outputs, so that's 12 stereo channels of balanced line level output on DB25 snakes. The other really cool thing about these, though, is regardless of whether you have Exilon or not, these modules function together outside of Exilon. So the I/O module is called I/O because it is inputs and outputs. So you could use this bank as inputs to these modules. So if you pair these together, you now have 12 balanced outputs in the system because you were using these as inputs. If you use it with this module, you can have 24 balanced outputs to any Eurorack system just by using these 2.
So they are also standalone. They not only works with the mixer, but also with
Together as on their own, yes.
Okay.
I/O also does some other cool things with the mixer. So if you plug it into the back of Exilon, then it gives you access to all those channels like I mentioned, but you can do other things with them besides direct output. You can use them to create another submix of channels to send to a granular processor or a stereo filter and create other, basically your own new effect sends and buses, and then bring them back in with everything else, say at monitor. So it's very flexible.
Yep, that sounds really like an ultimate modular mixer.
Yes, yeah. And that leads me to the product that we're announcing here at Superbooth, which is Optx version 2. So this is a long-awaited module that we've... Yes. Optx 2 is the successor to Optx 1, which we've had in the line for a while. And we've made many improvements based on customer feedback and the fact that we really wanted better conversion. And so with this module, you have 8 inputs and 8 outputs that are converted to and from ADAT. So we have an ADAT connection here.
Okay. So it comes from your typical audio interface with ADAT.
Yeah, so you can use it with audio interfaces like the Evo here, and we have it connected in the back. And we're using Bitwig to actually, for the demo, to send audio and CV into the system. And here are the the ADAT ports back here.
And so you could send out of this one CV and audio, so also modulation.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And that's one of the improvements we made. So we've redesigned the module 5 times now using different converters. Now we finally found the ones that we like. And all 8 converters, all 8 inputs on the converter here have a switch in pairs basically. And you can have in audio mode, you have ultra low noise audio input, super clean. These are professional converters. And then in CV mode, you can input CV, and what it does is it takes 5 seconds, it recalibrates and finds the perfect 0 offset. So it measures the offset and recalibrates what 0 is, so you have no DC offset on the CV inputs. And you can select that in pairs.
So this is basically the bridge between your computer and your mixing system.
Absolutely. So if you have a regular DAW, you can still send audio in and out using Optx, no problem, high fidelity. But if you have one of those other 3 softwares like VCV Rack, Bitwig, or Ableton CV tools, you can send control voltages in and out as well, which is what we're doing on this second unit here. So it's very powerful. We also have internal clock, just like the old one, so you can sync them together. You don't need a computer, or you can use it with just the output. You don't need the ADAT input if your interface only has the one way. So we've also added the option for onboard 5 volt or external 5 volt on the back, so you can use your case's 5 volt power now.
Okay. There were also solution for integrating pedals inside the modular.
Yes, that's basically what we specialized in, especially at the beginning. So we have 2 options for that. The Unifex is our pedal interface, and it works 2 ways. So you can actually have the modular system or the signal in modular be your main signal, and then these 1/4 inch be the effects loop, and then you can adjust the wet dry here and CV that. But if you flip the switch from pedals to Eurorack effects, now the main input and output is the 1/4 inch, and this is the effects loop.
But for stereo, you need two unify effects.
Yes, but we also have a different module for that. So over here is exchanger, and this is designed for very high fidelity input and output into stereo pedals. So you can send out to, say, a Strymon pedal, which has great audio fidelity, and it will clean up the signal a bit, remove the rumble and any high frequency noise that comes from your power supplies, usually at the pedal side, and then you can bring it back in stereo as well. So those are those solutions there. The last thing in our case over here that is of major importance here is injector, which a lot of people use, which is our guitar and bass interface, basically instrument interface. It has an amp simulator, overdrive, voltage extractors for envelope and gate. It sounds great. It's all analog, and it has an effects send and return, so you can bring your guitar in, run it through effects, use the envelope to control them, and then come right back out to your amp or interface and have a nice guitar tone while you're doing it. And that's basically the lineup of modules that we brought with us in our system to Superbooth.
That's not few. That's
Right.
a lot.
Right. But we're pretty excited to just give people hands-on access to Xcelon.
I think this is the European premiere, no?
In person, yes. Yeah.
And your company is you're from US.
We're based out of the Richmond, Virginia area.
Okay. And you're known for the patchulator.
Correct. Yeah, the patchulator was our first product. It was a hobby product before this became a full-time job, and it's a passive device that we thought would be great for all our pedals that we have, because we're all musicians, and we wanted to change up the order of our effects easily without unplugging, and we were doing a lot of experimental recording, and so that helped out a great deal. And last year we released the Patchulator Pro, which is the Pro version, so we have 10 effects loops and also a dedicated main instrument channel, and that allows you to do 2 separate effects loops and then switch between them, and it's all passive, so it's very simple to use and very powerful.
I think things like this you could put your effects on steroids.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can mangle them and the feedbacks and so on. Yeah.
It gives you more immediate access to changing things up without a hassle. So you just plug it all in and then you can rearrange.
But while you are now in modular, these are still available and it's in your product catalog and so on. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Interfex is still available, and this is a 3-channel version of the Unifex module I showed you on the desktop.
Okay.
And so there's 3 channels in this small box, and you can still modulate the effects blend and everything.
Okay. Adam, that sounds really cool. I think if you're really a mixing nerd, this is the way to go.
Right, if you need the flexibility to connect a lot of different things in different ways in Eurorack and on the desktop, Boardbrain makes those solutions.
That's definitely the ultimate mixing console for Eurorack.
Well, we hope so. We hope a lot of people will get their hands on it, and anybody who needs one in their system will be able to get one.
Xcelon and so on are already available. Yeah, they're out, and
Exilon is available
Exilon,
worldwide right now, and the price is $900 US and $400 US for the XP3 expanders.
okay. And the new direct multi-channel expansions are also already out? Or?
Yes, those are also shipping to retailers or already in retailers now.
Okay. And the Optx V2 is?
The Optx V2, we've basically just finished the design, and so we're announcing that it's going to be coming, and we'll probably be doing pre-orders this summer, and we'll have hopefully them in stores by September.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you so much.
I wish you a good Superbooth 24, the rest days, and big thanks, and hope to see you again in the next video.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.